guys, so today I'm going to do like a very random video where I basically prepare a meal for my friend. I had offered to make pasta, but baby girl doesn't like pasta, so she requested for dumpling and some beef stew or curry, whatever I could possibly do. So yeah, right now I'm trying to prepare that, and she's already called me and told me that she is not too far away. Okay, so I bought some like chopped beef because I wasn't going to spend time chopping up meat all over again once she gets here. I actually don't like cooking when people are like waiting for me. I don't know if this is like enough meat. So I've already chopped up my green peppers, my onions, and I've got some meat here. I don't know how I feel about this. This girl knows that I hate cooking, but here she is asking me to like cook for her. Okay, so I think my oil is actually heated now. I'm gonna just throw in some salt because I don't want my garlic and ginger to like stick on my pots, because I'm not using a non-stick pot, just using a regular pot. And it already has some oil. Okay, so this is my oil and onion. I feel like I put my heat on low. So now I'm adding my curry powder to my onions, and I usually mix my curry powder with a few spices so that I don't have to keep adding spices, or so that I don't forget my spices that I prefer to use for my curry. And that's me mixing everything. I actually added too much curry powder mixture in this. So I leave my curry powder and onions to cook for a while so that you don't get that raw spice taste at the end, and then I add my peppers when I feel the onion is ready. I decided to add a lot of zeal to my meat in the interest of time, because I felt like I won't have enough time to slow cook my meat so that it gets ready properly. Then I also added some marinade because I love meat with flavor. I added garlic flakes and bay leaves to my onion mix, and then I proceeded to add a bit of powdered ginger as well to my onion mix. Now I added my meat to my onion mix, and I mix it up just to evenly distribute the onions so that it doesn't just stick at the bottom and burn basically. And then I decided to add a bit of veggies as well, because I actually love veggies in my curry. So I added veggies in my curry, and then I mixed it and allowed it to cook. So I actually cheat my dumpling, and I use self-raising flour instead of normal flour. I pour it up into my bowl where I'm going to be mixing everything. I actually don't use a sieve. And then I open up a small circle in the middle of the flour. This is where I'll add all my dry ingredients as well as my wet ingredients. So I'll put my dry ingredients mix and then add my wet ingredients as well. Okay, so first up I added a teaspoon of salt. I used Himalayan salt. And then after that I added 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I usually add a tablespoon of sugar per cup, but I actually don't use cups here. So I added 2 tablespoons because I prefer my dumpling more on the sweet side of life. So after that I also added my mixed herbs to the mixture because I preferred always adding something extra to my dumpling. I don't like plain dumpling. And then yeah, this is my dry ingredients, and I mix it all up. So after I've mixed my dry ingredients, I add 1 egg in the middle of my mix, and then I add half a cup of water because I also need to add some milk later, so I'll only just use half a cup of warm water and half a cup of milk. So that's my wet ingredients, and I mix it all up. I usually use a tablespoon of oil, but this time around I just decided not to. I opted to go with something a little different, so I went with a tablespoon of margarine. I really like this margarine. And then I mixed all my wet ingredients with my flour mix. I usually use whisk because I don't like getting my hands dirty with wet dumpling batter. Like, I just don't like how it feels on my fingers, so I usually just use my whisk up until it's dry enough for me to touch it, if that makes any sense. So I've added a bit of flour because I realized that my batter was actually very wet, and even after all of that mixing, it still just wasn't molding up the way I wanted to be. And yeah, I decided to add a bit of flour, and I think when it was dry enough I could touch it with my hands because I didn't mind having this sort of consistency on my hands. I also added more flour because I felt like even though it was a bit drier, it was still sticking to my fingers, and this basically helps me to like mix properly. The great thing about not using normal flour is that I don't have to worry about adding more yeast as I add like more cups of flour to my mixture, because I'm not using yeast. I'm actually using self-raising flour. So the only thing I'd have to worry about is adding a bit more salt and sugar for taste. But other than that, I am okay with adding flour and oil just to not have it stick on my hands, because I really don't like it when that happens, and it really affects the way that I knead my dough, because I want to be able to knead properly without having the whole batter like stick on my knuckles. Okay, so after kneading my dough, I decided to separate it into small little dough balls, and then I put in my tray, and then it was all ready for steaming and preparation. And then I have my little dumplings, which look so amazing. And this is how I served my meal for my friend.